presents
In 1976, the Oahu Corporation, a development company started by two brothers from St. Louis, proposed to build a theme park in Hawaii. Kahe Point, a sort of Hawaiian Disneyland, was to be constructed on the leeward side of Oahu, just 18 miles west of Waikiki. An elaborate $32 million 100-acre theme park, designed by ex-Disney Imagineer Rolly Crump, was to be built in a canyon on several different elevations, each having a separate theme. Coincidentally, in 2011, Disney came to the area and built their Aluwani Resort, less than a mile away at Ku'ulina.
My dad and Uncle Arnold, they would do business ventures together. I know they did believe that it would have been a great thing. It would have worked fine. It was a nice addition to the island. And at some point, 1975, so they started to try to get that running. There were like three elements they needed. They needed the permits, they needed the financing, and they needed the land. And they, at any one time, they'd have two of those three elements, but they never got all three simultaneously lined up. So this was a good idea. It had a lot of pluses. They could sell it well, and they did, but I guess not quite well enough. So eventually, finally just tapered out, and forget it, that was it, we're not getting it. They were trying to go into it to be a quality thing. With Rolly Crump and the research they did, we were going to do a theme park, not an amusement park, about the Disney folks. My dad and uncle definitely wanted to go the Disney route, as much as they could. They wanted to make it as good as possible. So Rolly Crump and others, there were a couple other guys. He wasn't the only ex-Disney guy they had. There were others. But anyway, they came out to Hawaii, and my dad and uncle would come out to California to look at all kinds of things. They'd tell my dad stories. The Tiki Room in Disneyland, they were full of stories. Kahe Point would have been very tiki-y. The plan was to do it kind of first class and as much in the Disney model as we could.
So I left WED and had my own little design firm in Newport Beach. I was asked to design Polynesia, the islands of the Pacific, and learn about the gods and their spirits. And I said, okay. It was really kind of cute. And I really feel kind of bad that one didn't go, because what it is, it's if you get a good team, then you're going to get a good show. I had a gorgeous team of people I was working with. As hard as you worked and the things that you did, there was always that fun that went along with it. It's all about entertainment. I want them to look and see kind of what was inside of my head when I did it.
Featuring scaled-down buildings from Honolulu's past, Old Honolulu is a quaint and charming architectural area. It also has one of two stations to board the sugarcane train that winds up through the canyon. Gardens of the Pacific includes a live bird show and an animated boat ride through a lush jungle setting. Gods of the Pacific will showcase exotic tikis from around Polynesia. The Oriental influence of Pacific cultures is showcased in the Oriental area, with Japanese puppet shows, Chinese magic demonstrations, and other exotic sights and sounds while wandering through intimate streets of Oriental architecture. Village of the Menehunes. Guests visit this sacred homeland of these Hawaiian legends in a whimsical, mysterious indoor dark ride. Land of the Volcanoes affords guests a water thrill attraction incorporated into a setting of volcanoes, towering peaks, bubbling mud pots, and steaming lava. Plantations of coconut, pineapple, coffee, and fields of Hawaiian flowers are developed into exhibits highlighting Hawaiian crops in the agricultural area. Enjoy the smell of paradise as the sugarcane train passes through the banana factory and nearby pineapple cannery. The highest point in the canyon is the cultural area, hosting a restaurant with a spectacular view of the Pacific Ocean, featuring luau's, native dances, and varied programs of Pacific cultures. The sugarcane train is now boarding. Get your ticket for a grand circle tour of Kahe Point, exploring the 7 themed areas of the park.
All passengers board!
Aloha! Welcome to Hawaii. The first sound you hear is your own excited heartbeat. When you arrive to find the sky is bluer and the sea even more incredible than the picture postcard show it. Yes, there are so many things to see, so many things to do, and beauty everywhere. For some, excitement. For others, relaxation. And for many, romance.
A land of warm, welcoming colors and old-fashioned Victorian-style buildings. Here in an atmosphere of turn-of-the-century America, you can experience the fun of riding a real horse-drawn streetcar. Of course, no main street, be it young or old, would be complete without a variety of shops, stores, and restaurants. Enjoy it and linger as long as you like.
The drums and chants of all the fabled islands of the Pacific.
Have you ever gone exploring through the islands of Hawaii? From Marquise to St. Tahiti live a little people called the Menehunes, the Menehune of Hawaii.
From the far-off islands of Japan they came, with their age-old and haunting melodies. And from other distant lands, Korea, sunny Philippines, and the Chinese added their strange sounds, filled with sweet nostalgia.
The entire area is scarred with old lava flows, leaving mysterious caves and tunnels in many places. Now inactive except for a few steam vents on the crater rim, only a short distance from the barren desolation of Kilauea Crater, home of the fire goddess, Madame Pele.
The smell of coffee and ginger, and beauty everywhere. Hawaii has 3 main industries: sugar, pineapples, and making people happy. Sunshine in a can.
The flavor of Hawaii is best enjoyed in pineapple. Grown year-round and harvested by hand, it's transported to the cannery.
The centuries-old lifestyles, customs, arts, and crafts of the South Pacific are preserved here the way they were before the modern world changed them forever. The world of Polynesia, the way it used to be, the way we wish it could still be.
And now it's nearly time to go. So many things to do, so many things to see. Photographs to take, last-minute shopping, and perhaps a final look around and a last chance to catch the sounds of Hawaii.